Okay, this is section 4.3, part 2. I'm going to try to get the rest of it done here. And we're going to start off when you're looking at the book, it says minimum problems. Okay, so here's what we learned from before. The method we just developed can be used to solve minimum problems as well as maximum problems. Minimizing the objective function f, okay, make it kind of fancy, f is the same as maximizing negative f. This is so since multiplying by an inequality by negative 1 reverses the direction of the inequality sign. If we were graphing, instead of graphing the bottom part, it might be the top or vice versa. Okay, so thus to apply our method to a minimum problem, we merely multiply the objective function by negative 1 and turn the problem into a maximum. I'll let you read that a couple times and see if that makes sense. Okay, so in this example here, we want to minimize the objective function 3x plus 2y subject to these constraints here, x plus y greater than or equal to 10, x minus y less or equal to 15, x greater than or equal to 0, and y greater than or equal to 0. Okay, now the first thing I notice is a greater than or equal sign here, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to multiply through by negative 1, make that negative x minus y less than or equal to negative 10. That's where this one came from. That's the same as what we had. Those are the same also. And then the 3x, instead of minimizing 3x plus 2y, we're going to multiply by negative 1, and this becomes negative 3x minus 2y. So we're going to maximize this one. Now look at my numbers. I got negative 1, negative 1, negative 1, negative 1. I got 1 and negative 1. On the bottom, from my function over here, it's negative 3, negative 2. Remember to take the opposites. So now those become 3 and 2. Inside here, there's your identity. It's a 3 by 3 identity. Then over on the right, that's where the negative 10 and the 15 and then 0 come in. All right. So, what are we going to do next? Well, first of all, if you're going to, there's your negative. So you come across, and you've actually got a choice. You can pick either one of these to deal with. I'm going to work with this guy here for no other reason. The book does it that way. So, coming down here, I got to make that a positive, so that becomes 1, 1, negative 1, 0, 0, and 10. All I really did there was take negative row 1. These other guys stay the same. Okay, that became my pivot. So my next step is we want to get some zeros. So the top row stays the same because that's where the pivot is. To get a 0 here, I'm simply going to take row 1 plus row 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. 1 plus negative 1 is 0. Negative 1 plus 0 is negative 1. 0 plus 1 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 10 plus 15 is 25. And then my bottom row, to get a 0 here, I'm going to take negative 2 times row 1 plus row 3. So negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, plus positive 3 is 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2, plus 2 is 0. Negative 2 times negative 1 is 2. 2 plus 0 is 0. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus, oop, I skipped over a step, didn't I? Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 0. This should have been a 0. And now we're going to this row. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1. There's the 1. And negative 2 times 10 is negative 20, plus 0 is negative 20. Okay, so now when you look at this matrix, you realize there are no negatives except the last one. And we're going to ignore that one. So we're saying the max, it's going to sound funny, is negative 20. And the min, remember how we started out? We set that up by taking the opposite. It's the opposite of the max. So if this is negative 20, this is going to be positive 20. Now it's going to sound odd because the max is a smaller number than that number, but this is not really a true maximum as much as we're using that number just to get this one. Okay, now that happens when x equals what? Well, you come over here, here's your x column. That is not a unit column, so x is automatically 0. Y, the 1 is here, y is going to be 10. So as an order pair, that's 0, comma 10. So my minimum is 20, and that happens at 0, comma 10. I think that's hard to, I think it would be very hard for you to understand because it's hard to picture what all that is. I'm not sure, if I was organizing everything, I am not sure that I would show you all of that because it doesn't make a lot of sense. There's actually a very formal way of finding minimums. It doesn't always work, but that's what in most books I would teach you that method. This book doesn't show you, so I'm not going to try to confuse you. Okay, here's example 3. Same kind of stuff. Now on this one, it says we want to minimize this function. If that were an equals, like equals 0, I could rewrite that as negative 2x minus 3y equals negative 375. Let's skip down at the bottom here. Negative 2, negative 3, negative 375. And this is crazy, but this is like f. So negative f is 2x plus 3y equals positive 375. But then when you come down here, you take the opposites and put them down here. I think that's real confusing. It's real confusing to try to explain it. Let's look at our constraints here. So I got x less than or equal to 30. That's like 1x plus 0y. 1x plus 0y, and then over here is going to be the 30. For this one, that's like 0x plus 1y. 0x plus 1y, and then here's the 25. Now this one's got a greater than, so we really need to turn that around and say it's negative x minus y less than or equal to negative 15. That's what I got right there. So it's going to be negative 1, and negative 15 is here. On this one, it's going to be 1x plus 1y. Here's your 45. And on the bottom, that's where that function comes in. So negative 2, negative 3, and negative 375. Okay? As they say, the plot thickens. Okay, so here's the negative on the right. You go across and you find the negative on the left. You could actually pick either one of those two. They picked this one, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick that. But the next step is to make that positive. So the top number stays the same. One, two, three, four, 1, 2, 3, 4. I always count those zeros to make sure. And then you're going to have 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 25. Then the next row we're going to take negative row 3 because we wanted to make that positive. So there's 1, 1, 0, 0. That 1 becomes negative 1. 0, 0, 15. 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 45. And on the bottom you got negative 2, negative 3, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, negative 375. Okay. So once we get to there, I'm going to use that one right there, and I want to get zeros. So to get a 0 up here, I'm going to take negative row 3 plus row 1. So negative 1 plus 1 is 0. Negative 1 plus 0 is negative 1. 0 and 1 is 1. 0 and 0 is 0. This becomes the opposite, so that's 1 plus 0 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. And that's negative 15 plus 30 becomes 15. I gotta catch myself every once in a while because sometimes I'll leave my numbers out. Second row's already got 0, so it'll stay the same. So I'm simply copying these numbers across. Okay. That was my pivot, so I'm simply copying those numbers. To get a 0 here, I'm going to take negative row 3 plus row 4. Negative 1 and 1 is 0. Negative 1 and 1 is 0. 0 and 0 is 0. 0 and 0 is 0. So that becomes positive 1 plus 0 is positive 1. 0 and 1 is 1. 0 and 0 is 0. And negative 15 plus 45, that becomes 30. And then the bottom row, we're going to take 2 times row 3, add it to row 5. 2 times 1 is 2, plus negative 2 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is 0. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, plus 0 is negative 2. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 2 times 15 is 30. 30 plus negative 375 is negative 345. Okay, hope you're keeping up with all that. It's not the easiest thing to keep up with. It's tricky because you can't visualize, at least not like you would like. Okay, what's next? Well, that was like an iteration. So we start, now we go back to this thing where we're going to find the biggest negative. So 15 divided by 1 is 15. 15 divided by 0, that's too big. That becomes a negative number. This is 30 over 1, which is 30, and then negative 345 divided by, we don't ever use that one. I'm not even going to calculate it. So we want the smallest positive. The smallest positive is up on top. So that's right here. So now when you look at this, there's my pivot. I've already got a 1. That makes things nice. So I want to get zeros. So the top's going to stay the same. Row 2's already got a 0, so it's going to stay the same. 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 25. I got to get a 0 here, so I'm going to take row 1 plus row 3. 0 plus 1 is 1. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 1 plus 0 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 and negative 1 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. And 15 plus 15 is 30. Now I want to get a 0 here, so I'm going to have to take negative row 1 plus row 4. Sorry about that. So 0 and 0 is 0. That becomes the opposite of negative 1 is positive 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. Negative 1 plus 0 is negative 1. 0 and 0 is 0. Negative 1 and 1 is 0. Negative 1 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. Negative 0 plus 0 is 0. And then negative 15 plus 30 is 15. Okay, and then the last row, we're just going to take 2 times row 1 plus row 5. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is 0. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus negative 1 is negative 3. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 0 is 2. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2, plus negative 2 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 0 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. And 2 times 15 is 30. 30 plus negative 3, 45, is negative 3, 15. All right, that finishes the second iteration, and now we got to go back again. Biggest negative is right here. So here's my pivot column. So we come over here, it's going to be 15 divided by negative 1. That's a negative number. 25 divided by 1 is 25. 30 divided by 0, too big. 15 divided by 1 is 15. And that number divided by that doesn't matter because it's on the bottom. Okay, so this row becomes my pivot because that 15 over there is the smallest positive. So here's my pivot, it's 1. I just need to get some zeros, see what happens. So using that 1 to get a 0 up here, I'm going to take row, what is that, row 4 plus row 1. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus negative 1 is 0. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 0 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. And 15 plus 15 becomes 30. Okay, now I got to get a 0 here, so I'm going to take negative row 4 plus row 2. So 0 and 0 is going to be 0. Negative 1 and 1 is 0. This becomes positive 1 and 0 is 1. 0 and 1 is 1. 0 and 0 is 0. 0, I'm sorry, I just lost track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm ready for this one. So that's negative 1 plus 0 is negative 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. And then you got negative 15. Negative 15 plus 25 should be 10. Okay, third row is okay. I got a 0, so I'm just copying 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 30. Row 4 is my pivot, so it stays the same, so I'm just copying those. And then on the bottom, I'm going to have to multiply by 3. So 3 times row 4 plus row 5. So 3 times 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 times 1 is 3 plus negative 3 is 0. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1. 3 times 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 times 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 plus 0 is 3. 3 times 0, 0 plus 1 is 1. And 3 times 15 is 45. And 45 plus a negative 315 is going to be negative 270. All right, we still got a negative on the bottom. I thought it would have been taken care of with this one, but we don't. Still got one more. So here's my pivot column. Okay, so when you come over here, 30 divided by 0 is too big. That one's going to be 10. This is going to be 30. That one's going to be negative, and that one doesn't count. So the 10 should be the smallest. And this number right here is my pivot. Okay, this should be my last step. Okay, top row's already got a 0, so I'm just copying 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 30. Second row's where the pivot is, so I'm just copying. So 0, 0, 1, that was a 0 here. 1, 0, negative 1, 0, 10. Okay, now I have to get a 0 here, so I'm going to take negative row 2 plus row 3. 0 and 1, 1. 0 and 0, 0. Negative 1 and 1, 0. Negative 1 plus 0 is negative 1. 0 and 0 is 0. We'll take the opposite, that makes it positive 1. Positive 1 plus, I hope that's a 0, is positive 1. 0 and, it was a 0, gives you 0. And negative 10 plus 30 is 20. Next row, I got to get a 0 here, so all I'm going to do is take row 2 plus row 4. So 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus negative 1 is 0. 1 and 0 is 1. 0 and 0 is 0. Negative 1 plus 1 is 0. 0 and 0 is 0. And 10 plus 15 is 25. Now the bottom row. To get a 0 here, I'm going to take row 2 plus row 5. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0. 1 plus negative 1 is 0. 1 plus 0 is 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. Negative 1 plus 3 is 2. 0 plus 1 is 1. And 10 and negative 270 is negative 260. So, if I was finding a max, we would have said that would be negative 260, but we take the opposite of that to get the minimum, so that's going to be positive 260. What about X and Y? Go back up here. Here's your X column. The 1's right here, so if I look across, X is going to be 20. Here's the Y column. There's the 1. Y is going to be 25. So that would be a minimum of 260, and that happens at 20, comma 25. Okay, and then I'm going to stop there. This is, I don't think this is an easy thing for you to pick up on, and we're going to see how things go, and maybe we'll see how the homework goes. But try them, see what happens. I've tried to do exactly what was in the book, so it'd be easier for you to follow, and hopefully the homework and then any problems you have on the test won't be too hard to follow. All right, that takes care of section 4.3.